good morning, good afternoon, good evening, whatever may be the case. You know, I've been hearing this story here from me for the last 3 years, and I'm saying it again. You say, why are you being so consistent about the issues that affect you and your community? Why not? I have to be consistent about the truth. And if I told a lie, you would be able to tell within the last 15 shows that I did over the last 3 years here. You will see if there's any lie to what I've been saying over the last 3 different years on this show. And it troubles me because the names that I'm going to mention to you today and the people that are involved in this cover-up is a shame and a disgrace. As you see here on the board, Labor Board, Commissioner Gerald Weiner, Mike Cohad, Dr. Evans, Jody Paul, all the above. These folks were involved in literally covering up my civil rights being violated. Okay, knowing good and well that I should have been honored. Instead of them honoring my civil rights being respected, they violated and covered it up for the city and for the state. And I say, why? Why? And I will show you the reason why. And it's a shame and a disgrace the reason why they did it. All behind because of what? Me speaking out about these contaminated dirt piles, all right, that needed something done about it because kids were playing on these contaminated dirt piles that can cause them to come down with cancer and other diseases. Yes, you heard it before. And I'm saying it again, yes, after 27 and a half years, that worked with the city for 27 and a half years. They've had articles written up about me putting more police in public housing, about housing authority woes. I've been speaking about all kinds of issues all my life. Yes, it cost the city $250,000 to remove these contaminated dirt piles on the east end of the city of Bridgeport, on the east side of the city of Bridgeport. Yes, it cost them that, and it should have cost them more. Shame on them to have me have to lose my job behind that. And I have no problem with that because it needed to be done. And what troubles me is that they terminated me from my job for what? What did they terminate me from my job for? Could you reflect on that, my dear, on the termination as the reason why they reflected and terminated me? Yes. She speaks better English than I do and much more clearer. So let her reflect on that if she can for me.
Okay, this letter is from the Department of Health and Social Services. The letter is dated March 20th, 2006, addressed to you, referencing unauthorized absence. Dear Mr. Young, you were advised via a letter from Labor Relations dated March 10, 2006, that you must return to work immediately or you would be deemed to have voluntarily resigned your position as a security guard with the City of Bridgeport. As of Friday, 3/17/2006, you have not returned to work. There is no valid reason for your absence. Therefore, your absence is considered unauthorized, and your employment with the city is hereby terminated effective immediately. If you have any questions, please call your union representative. And the letter is written by Marian Evans, whom was the Director of Health and Social Services.
Now, isn't that a shame and a disgrace? Did you hear what she just got through reading this letter very, very loud and clear? It made it very clear that I was terminated for not coming to work. When you have here overwhelming evidence here at the time card showing that on March 16, 2006, I did come to work. And I indicated that I'll be going for a colon exam on the 17th. It troubles me that the city of Bridgeport could stoop that low and to cover up for my rights being violated to the degree that they have. And for those folks who have allowed this to go on, I say shame on the city of Bridgeport, shame on the state of Connecticut, and those other officials that I'll be mentioning. And that includes Attorney General Blumenthal as well. Now again, you see here, Dr. Evans' secretary, her assistant, who wrote indicating on March 16, 2006, that I'll be leaving. All right, because I plan on getting married, okay? All right, I plan on getting married with a young lady who's been fighting this battle with me for many years, okay? Who caused herself to the demise to a point where she got so sick to a point where she's no longer here now because she wrote so many letters over so many years that it just wore her down. She smoked herself to death, okay? She's no longer here no more. And I said to myself, why should I let this go, huh? Especially when she told me, yes. And I said to her, yes, honey, there's casualties in wars. And you know something? I've been living with the thought of knowing that I had the audacity to discuss the fact that, yes, there's casualties in the wars. And you know what she told me? Yes, and I am going to be one of the casualties. And yes, she has become that casualty. And I have to live with that. And I say, shame on Senator Blumenthal and those of them who knew good and well I came to work. All right? They knew I came to work. They had evidence of that. Yet and still, when I gave them this evidence, okay, what did they do with it? What did they do with it? I gave them a doctor note indicating that I'm out under doctor's care, They said they called my doctor's note literally strips of paper. How dare they call this doctor's note in 2006 strips of paper? This is the same doctor's note that was given to them in 2005, all right? In 2005, all right? They accepted it in 2005. And it has a loop by Dr. Walters, a signature that the Labor Board called unillegible. They called it unillegible. This is the same loop in 2006 and 2005. Shame on them, the Labor Board, all right? It wasn't good enough for the city to honor my doctor's notes. And why? Because they said I didn't give a diagnosis. Here is a diagnosis. It said very clearly in 2006 that I was being treated for extreme anxiety. I had to give them that information in black and white, a full doctor's note indicating the above. Why should I have to have done that? I was forced to do that. Under the HIPAA law, there was no reason that I had to give them any information pertaining to my me being out under medical leave. And they denied me that. They denied me that and told me that if I didn't show up, they were going to terminate me. So I showed up at work on that date because I feared I would lose my job, I would lose my benefits. So what did I do? I asked Dr. Walters, okay, because of the stress was wearing me down so much to a point where I felt like I needed more help. So he referred me to a clinical psychiatrist, Dr. Wanick, a clinical psychiatrist who specialized in dealing with people with extreme anxiety and emotional distress and anxiety and all the above. And that's what I was dealing with and still dealing with for 19 years. Why? This is something that should have been dealt with in 2008, should have been dealt with should have never even went beyond 2008. It should have been resolved in 2006. But you see here, I will show you that the Labor Board called my doctor's note literally strapped the paper and its signature was unillegible, and that I was never being treated by Dr. Walters, which was a lie. You see here, Dr. Walters said it in black and white, that he had been seeing me for several years now, had been treating me for several years, yet and still the Labor Board lied and gave the impression that that was not the case. Why? Because they committed fraud. They committed fraud, okay? And here it is the reason why they committed fraud, because they got paid. Albert Walters, Dr. Mike Cohat, they committed fraud, and I'm going to show you that, okay? All right? And here it is for the Labor Board to give the impression that my doctor's note was literally strips of paper. That was a shame and a disgrace. And let me give it to you on a bigger board because I want you to fully understand what went down with this, because this is not going to just go down like that and just think you're going to walk away from me on that, okay? I'm going to give you the overwhelming evidence, all right? Here it is, all right? Albert Walters. I mean, here's the Labor Board ruling. What did he rule? What did the Labor Board say pertaining to my doctor's note? Could you reflect on that? Do you have that? All right. It basically said that my doctor's note was literally the strips of paper, and that I was not being treated by Dr. Walters. All right. And he outright lied. Said my doctor's signature was unillegible. These are Labor Board commissioners who were appointed to be fair and impartial. They were not fair and impartial. It's evident of that by the Assistant Attorney General Mitchell, who drew up my complaint pertaining to them committing fraud. Gerald Wayne and Mike Cohat committed fraud. This Assistant Attorney General Blumenthal's assistant, Mitchell, who drew up this complaint on my behalf of a complaint that I filed against them because they ruled along with the city of Bridgeport, knowing good and well that they were committing fraud and that they were violating the public trust by ruling against me. Mike Cohat, his name is here twice. Why? He got paid twice. For what? The termination, either I was terminated or either I voluntarily resigned. If I voluntarily resign, voluntarily employees cannot receive benefits if they voluntarily resign, turning them medical benefits, if they voluntarily resign. But because I did not voluntarily resign and because I was terminated, I had a right to continue my medical benefits for 6 months. That's what the union age contract says. I have a right to continue my benefits for 6 months. Yet and still, okay, they disregarded that. Why? Because Gerald Wayne made $850 off of this matter as well. This is all medical hearings that he had pertaining to my medical benefits. There should have never been no medical hearings pertaining to this once they realized that I filed a grievance, which they knew I did. And for Attorney General Tongue to act like he don't know anything about this, that he can't find any information pertaining to these matters? Well, I say to them, ask the state auditors where is their file pertaining to whether or not they committed fraud. Now, Attorney General Blumenthal, I say shame on you, okay, to have not responded to this matter quicker than it had been, okay, because you should have. Your Assistant Attorney General Mitchell did a hell of a job, okay? Here is the state auditor's report. Look at the state auditor's report, read it. The state auditor's report clearly says and shows you, okay, that they finished their report in 2010 that was given to them by the Assistant Attorney General Mitchell, okay, all right, from the Attorney General Blumenthal's office, Assistant Attorney General Mitchell gave them this information to the state auditors, and they concluded their findings in 2010. The question is, what was their findings? Did they or did they not commit fraud? Yes, they did commit fraud. They got paid for hearings unnecessary, hearings that they should have never had, but they got paid for it. Why? Because the city of Bridgeport was in bed with those state officials who've been in bed with them for years. And I say to the Attorney General Blumenthal, how could you have allowed this to go on for so long? I didn't realize this until 2024 when I filed the Freedom of Information complaint about this matter even being resolved, being paid. I didn't know that they had paid them back then, okay, for this matter. Okay? I mean, read, come on, brother, come back down. I want you to read this whole thing, get it very clearly. The auditors completed their report. So I'm saying to the U.S. Attorney's Office and to the feds, I'm going to refer all of this information to you and ask that you do a federal investigation to find out the status of these complaints that I filed against these officials, because they committed fraud. And I said before, if anything I said here I can't back up, I said to them, sue me, Attorney General Blumenthal. Sue me, Gerald Weiner. Sue me, Mike Cohead. Sue me, those Jody Paul and Dr. Evans. If anything I said here I can't back up, I'm backing it up in black and white, showing you. There's files on files. And thank God for SoundView TV that has allowed me to be able to put this on YouTube, because everything I said here in black and white is on YouTube, and you can download the Cecil Young Show anytime, anywhere, any place, and you will get specifically everything I said here in black and white to back up my allegations. Now, the city could not do that. Why? Why they could not do that? Because they knew good and well they got paid. I made it even bigger, made it clear for you. Look at here. Mike Cohead twice got paid. Termination here. He got paid for the termination should have meant that there should have not been no medical hearings if I was terminated. If I had voluntarily resigned, there should not have been no medical hearings, because voluntarily employees cannot continue medical benefits if they voluntarily resign. I didn't voluntarily resign. You heard the letter read earlier saying that I was terminated. Terminated employees have a right to continue their benefits. I did, and I was terminated, all right? And for them to have hearings, 3 or 4 hearings that caused them to get an extra $575 from the state of Connecticut in the city of Bridgeport, Mike Cohead, shame on you to commit that kind of fraud. Gerald Weiner, $850. Why? For medical hearings, when it says very clearly, and I'm going to have her put up the information pertaining to that any employee who filed a grievance within a timely fashion has the right to continue their medical benefits, which I did do so. And that's what troubles me. Here it is. Now I will give you the situation pertaining to an agreement that we had almost agreed to back in 2007, which I didn't have to agree to, because according to the NAIDS union contract, they should have honored my benefits from day one. Could you please reflect on that, my dear, as to what they should have reflected to and honored?
Yes. The date on this is October 10th, 2007, whereas the parties hereby agreed to the following. 1, the grievance Cecil Young employment with the city of Bridgeport was terminated on March 20th, 2006. 2, section of 19.5 of the collective bargaining agreement states that the health benefits provided for under section 19.1 and 19.2 shall continue to be provided for terminated employees who have filed a timely grievance of such termination under this agreement until a final decision on such grievance is arbitration or 6 months from the date of termination, whichever is sooner. 3, this 6-month period following Mr. Young's termination would have expired on September 20th, 2006. On April 7th, 2006, Mr. Young submitted retirement paperwork and began receiving pension benefits as well as health benefits provided for under Section 19.1 of the contract, excluding the Cigna dental plan benefit under 19.1C. And 5, during the 6-month period of March 20th to September 20th, 2006, There were several claims submitted to Cigna Dental from Fairfield Dental Home, Adrena Torina, DMD, on behalf of Mr. Cecil Young and his dependent. These claims were denied by Cigna because Mr. Young was no longer covered under the city group plan, and we'll stop right there.
And isn't that a shame and a disgrace that they would do that to me like that in America? Come on, y'all. And then, you know, she had indicated to before about me taking some papers off her desk that I would not sign. You're right. I would not sign this. Why should I sign an agreement, all right, about something pertaining to my benefits that I had a right up under this NAID union contract to continue on? They told you to reinstate me, make me whole, and all the above. Why didn't you do that? No. Instead, you want me to sign an agreement? Why should I have to sign an agreement with you about anything pertaining to what the NAID union contract already had in place? All right, but you had the audacity to come up with another agreement that you wanted me to sign, again, pertaining to my benefits. And I said, no, 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 no. You had the union guy sign off on it, but I wasn't going to go along with that because you convinced him or whoever this person was to go along with it, and he wanted to sign, but I wasn't going to sign it, and I didn't sign it. Why should I sign it? I didn't have to sign it. You forced me to have to go in to put in for my pension, okay, all right, even though you knew good and well, right, that I had a right to continue my benefits. All right, you knew I had a right to continue my benefits. How was I able to get married? Huh? How was I able to get married? Here's the March 15, 2016. I got married. All right, here's proof that I got married from the city of Bridgeport. Patricia Nichols, her name was Patricia Nichols. It became Patricia Young in 2016. Why? Why? Because I got married, so she got put on my policy. How was she able to get put on my policy if I was not on the city payroll, if I was not a part of the city at the time? All right? She was put on my policy during the time before I got terminated. And that's why I said, how dare they insult me and insult the public and the taxpayers by terminating me, knowing good and well that I had a right to continue my benefits. This is married by Paul Ganem, Judge Paul Ganem, Judge Joe Gannon's brother, Paul Gannon. He's the judge at probate court. He married me and Patricia Young, who is no longer here now. Look at how strong and how healthy she was at the time. Do you know the amount of damage it did to my daughter? Do you know what I have to tell you about what my daughter almost had to go through behind what my mother no longer being there because of the stress that we put on her? Behind what? Attorney Blumenthal and them not doing their job? Shame on you, Attorney Blumenthal, and you not pursuing this matter. This matter was resolved, should have been resolved. Why wasn't it not resolved? Because of what? Let's talk about the letter that Judge Richard, let's go back and we'll show you now Judge Richard. Let's read Judge Richard's letter, and we'll tell you the reason why Judge Richard did what she did.
Okay. This is from John Williams and Associates. The message is dated September 26, 2012. I am sorry to enclose a ruling by Judge Richards denying your appeal from the rulings of the arbitrators. If you want to appeal from this, the appeal must be filed by Monday. However, in my opinion, there would be no point in taking an appeal because her ruling is not obviously wrong. Anyway, an appeal would be expensive unless you were representing yourself, and almost certainly not worth it.
Now, isn't that a shame and a disgrace that they would say that? Now, and the reason why they said that was because my attorney, who I paid Attorney John Williams $5,000 to take this matter to court before Judge Richards, he never showed up in court. He promised me that he would represent me as he represented himself. He never showed up in court, not one time. Huh? He not showed up in court, not one time. My attorney, John Williams, I'm going to show you that in a minute. And what troubles me is the reason why he said what he said was because Gerald Wayne, the chairman of the labor board, he'd been there, 20 years, 19 years? Mike Coheed been on this chairman of this board, management, for 20 years, 18 years. These people have been there for decades. Huh? No wonder they were reappointed by different governors over the years. Why? Because they were embracing whatever they apparently wanted, whoever wanted what they wanted. But you know what troubles me is that I remember not too long ago, some maybe 10 years ago, all right, these Gerald Wayner, the labor board, has awesome power. Do you remember when, I think it was Rowland was governor at the time, and there was a lot of federal funds that was sent to the state of Connecticut, and a lot of state employees took some of those funds and used them for their own personal gains, and the governor fired X amount of state employees. And could you believe the labor board ordered the governor to rehire these people back to work, and they got their jobs back? even though the governor terminated these people. But Gerald Weiner, Mike Coed, who was the chairman of that board at that time, a part of that I'm sure at that time, because 20 years ago, I said 10, 15 years ago, they were apparently the same board members who approved that stuff to put them back to work, even though the governor fired them for committing fraud, for receiving federal funds that they should not have received. And did they pay it back? No. And the question is, did Mike Coed, is Gerald Weiner going to be made to pay back, all right, the money that they took? That the money that they took unjustly, because they got paid. They got paid by having hearings that they shouldn't have had. Huh? They got paid by having hearings that they shouldn't have had. Here it is, the labor board, the commissioners ruled in my favor. A different labor board commissioner, I went before 7 other commissioners who the first 2 commissioners who dealt with the matter covered it up. So I had to go before another board of members, commissioners, who were about 7 of them, who ruled against those 2, apparently, and forced them to rule in my favor of paying my medical bills that they should have paid in 2006, but they didn't pay until after 2008, 2.5 years after, 2.5 years later. I don't know how many years after, but it took them 2.5 years and more after to pay my medical benefits pertaining to my dental needs that they should have paid back then. When it was here, clearly said that the award went in my favor. It went in my favor pertaining to my medical benefits. And can you believe my attorney, John Williams, so-called, who so-called was supposed to be representing me, if he would represent me like he should have and he could have, I wouldn't have had no problem with my medical benefits. Do you believe that he never once had anything to do with my medical benefits being won? I want my own medical benefits. I wrote this man, Attorney General Williams, I paid him $10,000 to appeal my matter to the Supreme Court. And he filed it with the Supreme Court, and I gave him another $5,000. He promised me that he would represent me like he represented himself. He never showed up in court, not one time. Not one time. John Williams swore the oath. He said he would represent me like he represented himself. He would show up in court. He never showed up after getting my $10,000. And I'm saying shame on the judge, the Supreme Court judge who threw my case out of court because he threw the towel in. He threw the towel in. Can you believe that? He threw the towel in. My lawyer, John Williams, threw the towel in on me. That's what he did. How could he do this to me and the judge let this happen? Why didn't the judge fine my attorney for not showing up in court? I paid this man $10,000, Your Honor. Why didn't you charge them and make him pay me back my $10,000 that I paid him, that he promised he would show up in court, and he never did? Why didn't you do that? I got more than 12 different stories of him showing that that I was notifying him, telling him, John, please show up in court because they're going to throw my case out of court. Please throw up in court, John. Please show up. All of these letters that was emailed to him telling him, please show up because they're going to throw my case out of court. John, please show up. Come on. But because of Gerald Weiner being the chairman for 20 years, Mike Coed being on the board for 20 or 19 years, they knew, that lawyer knew that down the road they would make more money working with them instead of going against them, because going against them might cause them to go to jail. Going against them might cause them to lose their license. Going against them might cause them to be indicted. There need to be a grand jury to investigate all of the above. Somebody need to help me help myself. I'm willing to pay for an attorney again if I got to pay another $10,000. Somebody please help me, help you, and help me, and others help themselves when they're out there trying to help people do the right thing. That's all I ever been trying to do, is doing the right thing. And I'm saying shame on the city of Bridgeport to disrespect me like they have. After all of what I've done for the city, I supervise housing authority police details for the housing authority, made community policing what community policing looks like and what it should be doing, which is relating to people on all levels. Here it is. I gave them goals and objectives on how to do what need to be done in our neighborhoods. That's me talking to them, giving them goals and objectives. Here is A.J. Perez, who was chief of police, who was a patrolman at the time in P.T. Barnum when I broke him in. He became chief of police, A.J. Perez. And here's Officer Garcia. Where's she at? She became chief of police. She was a sergeant who worked on my details in Green Homes and McQuonic Apartments in P.T. Barnum. I worked with all of these different details. Why? Because the mayor, Tom Busey, in 1988 appointed me as the mayor's community liaison officer. And as the mayor's community liaison officer, my job was to introduce these residents and these police details to the community at large, and to make sure that these police officers meet with the residents in the business, in the community, to make sure that their needs are being met on a level where they will feel comfortable about meeting with them. That's all I ever been trying to do. So you go to YouTube and download the Cecil Young Show. There's shows on there for the last 3 years about my rights being violated and all the things that I've ever tried to do for all of our people. And I say, thank God for Councilman Newton and Councilman Anita Martinez, all right, for pursuing my allegations as best as they could. And thank God for George Cruz, Councilman George Cruz, who requested that Councilman Newton and Councilman Martinez look into these allegations to see if whether or not the city was justifiable in terminating me. Could you reflect on that letter there, my dear? Can you let it? Because I want the public to know that Attorney General Blumenthal, this matter should not have been covered up. And I'm asking you, and I'm asking the governor, who I seen the other day at the groundbreaking of the new hotel down on East Main Street, all right? I gave him a copy of this letter telling the governor and all the above, all right, that I want him to look into these allegations, and I will be sending him a copy of this show showing him that my rights were violated. Could you read the letter, my dear?
Yes, the letter is dated April 8th, 2025, and it's in reference to a request to investigate Cecil Young's termination from the city of Bridgeport. The letter is addressed to Mr. Garnett. My council partner, Councilwoman Martinez, and I are writing to request your assistance in looking into a matter concerning a former city employee, Cecil Young, who has spoken during the past several city council meetings, presenting his case as to why he believes he was wrongfully terminated. We believe it is in the best interest of the city to investigate this matter and see that it is resolved. We ask that you review his case and assess whether there is any validity to his claim that he was mistreated before his termination.
Now, is that asking too much? Was that asking too much? 2 elected officials, 2 council persons on my behalf. My council person asked them in April 8th, will they look into these allegations and see if whether or not it was justifiable in terminating me? I met with the mayor's chief of staff, Gargett, and he asked me, what do I want? I said I wanted my name cleared. I have a right to clear my name. I have a right to get my reparations for what they did to me. Show if whether or not they were justifiable. That's what they asked you to do, not to make up no tap dance and song about what this and what that, or all the above. They asked you specifically what to do. And here it is some 6-7 months later, and I still ain't got no answer. I say, Mayor Joe Ganim, you said give me a second chance. You got your second chance, Joe Ganim. You're our mayor again. We gave you a second chance. Why not you give me my second chance, Mayor Joe Ganim? Why not? Give me my second chance. I'm a community activist. I ran for mayor in 1977 in the city of Bridgeport. Why? Because I cared about this city. I was born and raised in this city. I love this city. I get along with white folks, black folks, Puerto Rican folks, Jewish folks, all color types of folks. And why? Because I care. Charlotte Kaufman, Mark Gross, Hank Gross. There's a number of folks that I've worked with over the years. Sal DiPiano, Senator Sal DiPiano, all right? I mean, I was connected with a whole lot of these folks in terms of helping our city turn around and to make it safe for our people and all the above. And to turn around and treat me like a foreigner, I say, shame on you. All right? And that's why I say to you, I gave the governor a copy of this information, this letter, and I asked the governor, would he please look into these allegations to see if whether or not the city was justifiable in doing what they did to me. And I also asked the governor, and I say to the governor and to the attorney general, that Mike Cohad and Gerald Weiner, who committed fraud, I demand that they pay back the money that they took, okay, intentionally, because they knew good and well that they had no business taking those dollars. They knew good and well because they've been on this board. They've been on this board for 20 years or more, so they knew the procedures pertaining to this board. Look at here, Gerald Weiner, chairman of the labor board. Mike Cohad, management. These people knew about this system. They've been there for years. And why would they turn around here and defraud the city of Bridgeport and defraud the people of Connecticut and to think they can get away with it? No, they should not be allowed to get away with it. And I'm saying to the governor and to the powers to be, make them pay this money back. Make them pay this money back, and also take the positions from them that they had, because if they did this to me, how many others have they done it to? This is America. This is not no foreign state. This is the United States. And I'm saying to you, I am an American. I'm not an immigrant. I was born here in the city of Bridgeport. I am a 75-year-old African American. A black man, American, a black American in Bridgeport, Connecticut, born and raised here. Maybe the descendants of Africans, maybe all the above. I don't know how far back, but I'm saying I am born here in the city of Bridgeport, and I'm saying shame on them to not want to honor my rights. Yet and still, the city council can go along with saying we're concerned about those being violated and all the above, and I do as well. But I say, what about me? What about me? Those of us who fought about giving us rights and fought about rights before people even knew about the fight about rights. We're doing it years ago. Our ancestors, our people fought for our rights to have the rights to be heard and to be respected. But they're not doing that. Why? Because they think they got you all programmed to go along with what they want. And what they're saying, if you don't, they'll get rid of you like they got rid of me. And I say, shame on thee to allow that to happen to me. They got me today. It can be you tomorrow. It can be your brother tomorrow. It can be your sister tomorrow. And I'm saying to the city council members, all 20 of the city council members, you all have information pertaining to all the above. Each one of you is black, white, Puerto Rican, Jew, and your council is a rainbow coalition, council members. They are a rainbow coalition of council members who I heard now is on being YouTube. But I wonder, is the public speaking part on YouTube? I don't think so, because I don't recall me being heard. I don't recall the people who showed up at the last 2 council meetings being heard on YouTube. If it is, you're cutting us out. And I say, why? Because you want to control what goes. You want to control what goes out and what comes in. And I'm saying that's not the way to run a democracy. That's not the way to run a government. We should be open and fair and impartial. But when you program our leaders to not go along with what is right versus what is wrong, I say shame on them. Now, I seen the governor at the groundbreaking the other day. I seen Senator Gaston at the groundbreaking the other day, and I asked the governor, and I gave his information to him, and he gave it to his aide, and I also gave Senator Gaston a copy, and also another council person, a state rep, a package of this information. And I'm saying to them, ask the governor, if I'm saying that these people committed fraud, to investigate it. And if they did commit fraud, make them pay that money back and remove them from them boards. They've been there too long. They've been there too long. They should get a pension for as long as they've been on them boards and them commissions. And you want to know why come they allowed to stay there? They got appointed by Republican governors and Democratic governors. How? Not because they were fair and impartial, but because they looked out for them. They looked out for them, those who they wanted to look out for. But what troubles me is that I remember when Rowland fired those state employees for receiving federal funds, and the labor board told them to put them back to work and put them back to work, and they didn't have to pay none of that money back. I say the labor board has awesome power, and I say to you, they're like the Senate, they're like the Congress. Even though the president has the power to make rules and regulations, the Senate has to approve it. The Congress has to approve it, and that is the same with the city council. So I'm saying to the city council, you all have all of this information in black and white, and I'm saying to you, practice what you preach and not what you teach. You took an oath to be fair and impartial. You swore under oath that you're going to do what God put you here to do. And all I say is don't practice what you preach, practice what you teach. And that is to turn around those things that have been causing our people to feel discouraged. I'm not going to vote this election. I'm not going to vote this election. The only 2 people I may vote for, which will be the next 2 years, if they do decide to run, will be these 2. Other than that, I'm finished with voting for these kind of politicians because they look like you and look like me. They have become our worst enemies. Some of our own people that look like you and me. Just because they look like you and me don't mean that they're for you and me. A lot of them have shown that they are false prophets and they need to be exposed. And I'm saying even though Nita and Newton said what they said back in April, they haven't said no more since then. Why? Because they don't want to lose the standard, the relationship they got with the mayor to a degree. And I understand that because it's good to be around power. It's good to be able to help people out that you want to look out for. And I'm saying to you, look out for me too. I'm a homeowner. I'm a taxpayer. My home is paid for. And if you don't like what I'm saying, sue me. Sue me. Those of you who heard me say what I said about what I said, sue me. Huh? But to take my 2 council persons and to not have nothing put in the newspaper about this, ain't nothing I said here on this show for the last 3 years been in the newspaper, not one word. The Human Rights Commission even told them that they were justifiable in denying me the right to speak because I said I was tired of being treated like the N-word, all right, and that I'm a black man. Huh? And the Human Rights said that they were right in censoring me from not speaking at City Hall because I said I'm tired of being treated like the N-word. Why not? Based on all of what I've shown you, all of what I presented to you, what would you say if you were in my shoes, paying them $10,000 for your lawyer to represent you, and he throws the towel in, electing these people to represent you, and they speak about what they want done, and then they don't respond to it in the way that they actually respond to it, knowing good and well that I didn't just show up, I've been around. I've been around, like I said, for 60 years. I'm 75 years old. I've been out here fighting in the eye of the storm since I was 10 years old. I've been helping people all my life. Huh? I ran for mayor, like I said, in 1977. Why? Because I care. And I'm saying to the Human Rights Commission, to the ACLU, to whomever's out there that's hearing this program, I need a lawyer. I can take out a loan on my property to help you, pay you what you need. If you're willing to take this court to the Supreme Court, to wherever it got to go, I will refinance my home to pay you whatever it takes you to help me get this matter back into the courthouse, because the judge should have never thrown my case out of court. And the only reason why I believe he threw it out of court, and I'm not accusing him of something outright because I don't know for sure, but I know that judges are appointed. Just like this last judge who was appointed, the chief black judge who was appointed by governor recently, he was appointed by the governor. These judges are appointed by governors. They're nominated by town committee members, and they represent the constituents that put them there. And I'm saying, was that kind of a judge? It has to be that kind of a judge that is basically patronizing to those who help him got what he got. Because how dare he ignore all of what I presented here, and you, the John Doe publicans, download this any day you want on the Cecil Young Show. You can download it all. I got 3 years of me saying the same thing for the last 3 years, and ain't a one of them, not a one person that said, Cecil, I'm going to sue you, you better shut up. Not a one person that said, I'm going to put pressure on you, you better shut up. Not a one. Why? Because they know they can't back it up. They know they couldn't win if they took it to court. That's why I took it to court. I could have went out there and did something stupid. Huh? I went to City Hall last week getting ready to bug out for a second, but I said, no, I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to bug out behind these people doing this, what they did to me. What they did to me, I want my justice. I want my name cleared. I deserve reparation for what they did to me, and I'm not going to stop if it takes me the next 20 years. I will be on the air until the Connecticut Post, until WICC, until News 12, someone cover this story, and they probably won't until the U.S. Attorney's Office or someone from that level deal with them, because these people got so much power that I believe that the papers are intimidated, that Channel 12 is intimidated, that WICC is intimidated, and I can understand it. Because these labor board people got awesome power. They got awesome power. These people got awesome power. They've been there for years. Chairman Gerald Weiner. It's hard to deal with someone like that got that kind of awesome power. Mike Cohen, he's got awesome power. 20 years. So who am I talking about? Why are they afraid of him? Because think about it. If I'm a reporter and I write something that they don't like against them, they can go and if I want to fire that reporter because I don't like what he said, he can go to the labor board and get them to rule against the paper and sue the paper. Huh? They've been known to do things like that, I'm sure. Huh? So that's why they're afraid of them, because otherwise they would have reprinted these stories. Why hasn't anything I said here yet been in the Connecticut Post? Why haven't anything I said here yet been on News 12? Why can't anything I said here yet been talked about on WICC, on Black and White, as they said, WICC, Lisa and Wayne Winston's show on Black and White is making it right. Well, come on, y'all. What about me? What about we? You ain't got that many like me that will stand up and speak truth to power. I've been doing it because God called me to do it. Huh? I'm not no accident. I was designed to meet this need. Huh? I always wanted to know what it was like being persecuted. I know now what it's like. Being accused of something that you didn't do. I now understand the innocent project of those of them who are convicted and doing time and have done time for crimes that they didn't commit, but yet still they did time for crime that someone accused them of that they didn't do, yet and still there's no reparation. Why? There should have been. Just like there should be for me. I deserve reparation. I want my $10,000 back. I want my job back. I want my name cleared. You see, as I said here, Attorney John Williams, he lied. Never showed up in court, not one time. And the judge going to throw my case out of court? Why? Because Gerald Weiner, Mike Cohead, 20 years, 19 years, they got awesome power. Was put there by Rowland, was put there by Lamont, was put there by other different commissioners. These people got awesome power, y'all. Now, I ain't going to say Lamont put them there because they were there before Lamont got there. But I'm sure he can replace them with his people that will be fair and impartial because they sure enough wasn't. They committed fraud. Gerald Weiner, attorney. He's a civil rights attorney. I understand he has expertise in that. Why won't he sue me? You're a lawyer, Gerald Weiner. Mike Cohead, you're the man. You got connection with the law. Why don't y'all sue me, Cecil Young? My house is paid for. Take my house. Take my house. Huh? Put me and my family out into the streets. Huh? Come on, you can get it. You know how to do it. If what I said, slander is against the law, I should be made to pay for what I said if I can't back it up. Huh? Come on. Oh, if I had the connection that Donald Trump had, I bet you wouldn't treat me that way. Because I would have had your behind, boy, you would have been cooking in the furnace long before even fire even touch you. And you're right, because I got you. I got you, and you know I got you. And that's why they're trying to cover it up. And I'm saying to the public, don't let them get away with this. Attorney General Blumenthal, in 2008, when you seen that they realized that they ruled against me and they violated the public trust, you should have then told me, and they should have told me then, Cecil, you were right pertaining to your medical benefits being taken from you, and now because you showed me you were right there, we're going to look at your unjust termination to see if was that right. And you seen, based on what I showed you earlier, that that was not right. That you seen, based on what I showed you, that I came to work. Huh? The letter said that I was terminated for not coming to work. I was warned to show up, and because I didn't show up, I was terminated. Yet and still, my supervisor and her assistant, Dr. Evans' assistant, said that I would be leaving to get flowers to get married. How dare they give me a present by terminating me on the same day that I got married for coming to work when they said I didn't come to work? It's in black and white that I came to work. Look at here, I came to work. They call my doctor's note strips of paper. These are not strips of paper. These were doctor's notes. Here is an injury of a leg injury in 2005. Dr. Walters, a loop, that's the way he wrote, a loop in 2006, a loop. Come on. You said I wasn't being treated. I was being treated for extreme anxiety. See the name? Cecil Young, being treated for extreme anxiety. Why? And then the labor board says that they would never treat me. It's a lie. Look at what my Dr. Walters said. He had been seeing me for several years now and been treating me and referred me to Dr. Waney. How dare these people lie on the public and get away with it? I'm saying to the taxpayers and to the public at large, please help me find somebody that will speak up and will expose this injustice, because right now, okay, it's not being done. And I'm saying shame on the Connecticut Post, shame on News 12. Please, somebody help us do a fundraiser drive to get reporters that are willing to come and to practice what they preach and not what they teach as well, because we need fair and impartial reporters that's going to help us, because we're getting ready to go through some crisis. There's going to be a whole lot of folks crying out about, help me, because Donald Trump is getting ready to kick tail and take names, and he ain't playing no game. So you may sit back and act like, oh, it's me today. Better be ready for tomorrow, because I'm prepared for my battle, and I hope that you get prepared for yours, because you may be next. And as a matter of fact, you are next. Next month, next week, the SNAP program may not be supplied to those of them that are counted on SNAP food stamps in order to continue surviving. And much more is going to go down when it comes down to voter registration drives. Instead of them organizing people and motivating people to get out there to vote and to get them stimulated, no, they want to just protest and yang. Damn all the yanging. Get them organized. Get them motivated. Get them stimulated. But you can't get them stimulated because you don't care about them. You don't really care about them. They know that. That's why they don't vote. And yes, maybe what Trump is doing and maybe what is needed to be done to a degree to wake us all up, because that's what he's doing. I can say one thing about that man. He ain't got no problem about know what color you are. I don't care if you're black, white, Puerto Rican, Jew, what have you. If you cross his cross, he's coming after you. And he's coming after a whole lot of folks that had him set up to be taken out, and he's coming after you. And believe me, a lot of us are going to have that domino effect behind what he's going to do, because it's going to affect you, in me, in you. And that is why I said we need now more so than ever before. The churches not be just talking about what God has gave them, but what God has given them to use to help them deal with what's about ready to come down the pipe. And what's coming down the pipe is going to be rough. It's going to be hard, and it's going to be painful. And that's why I say to you, today is me, tomorrow could be you. So I say, please tune into the Cecil Young Show. Download it. Go to Soundview Media. Go to the Soundview Media, or either go to YouTube and download the Cecil Young Show. And you can download these shows for the last 3 years, because I've been here for the last 3 years saying the same thing. And I'm saying to Attorney General Blumenthal, they committed fraud. They violated the public trust. You got overwhelming evidence. And I'm saying to the Republican, to the Democratic Party, you know right from wrong, and this has been wrong. And I'm looking for someone to take action against those folks who violated the public trust. So please, again, as I come to a close, I say thank you for hearing me out. And believe me, it's never been about me. It's always been about we. I'm 75 years old. I'm tired. I've never had a vacation. I never had what most folks ever had. But I'm telling you, I'm on my way out. I'm tired. I'm wore out. I'm burned out to a degree. But every now and then I get somebody to say, Cecil, I heard you on a TV show the other day, and I like what you said. And I can be at a funeral, I can be going down the street, and somebody said, I heard you the other day and the other night, and I like what you said. And if there's nothing else but just those one or two people every now and then I run into and say, I heard about you through Soundview and on YouTube, I say thank God for that, because that is God reminding me that even though you may look like you're alone when you go to City Hall every month speaking about issues that affect you, and you don't bring no posse with you, because I don't have to, because God is with me. And they said, if God is with me, who can be against me? And those who are against me, you better watch out, because he's going to be watching you. And when your day comes to be reminded of what you did, what you could have did, and what you should have did, your day is going to be charged accordingly to what you didn't do and what you should have did. Thank you for listening to the show, and God bless you, and I'll see you next week. Tune in for part 2, for the best is still yet to come. You haven't heard nothing yet, the much more I have to say. Thank you for listening to the show, and have a good day. Paul, and some of the remarks that they made, but confirming the fact that what I've been saying has been the truth. If I can get the thing kicking in here. Dr. Evans and the folks now sent back that came to work on the 16th. voluntarily resigned. Because of that, I feared I would lose my benefits, lose my job, my years of service. I came back to work. I came back to work with the doctor as I'm here. But at 12 o'clock, I have to leave. At 10:30, I have to leave because I'm going to get married today. You know, I'm going to get married today at 12 o'clock. Joe Gannon is going to be marrying us at 12 o'clock. I asked Joe that day before that, would you marry me? Paul, would you marry me? He said he would do that. At 10:30, I told Ethan and Dr. Evans, which is on the recorder, with both of them, confirming. Ethan said, congratulations. Dr. Evans said, you can leave if you want to leave, but, you know, I'm not going to pay you for that time. I said, Dr. Evans, I do not expect you to pay me for the time that I do not work, but I am here because against my doctor's will. Because the doctor said I should be out for that whole month, but I'm here against my doctor's will because I fear that you will fire me, and I need my medical benefits because I have high blood pressure, I have high cholesterol, I have thyroid, my wife is sick, my daughter going through problems. I mean, we need our medical benefits. My fiance was sick, we need a medical benefit. So we got married that same day at 12 o'clock. We left. I gave, you see the phone there, showing that by that day, the next day, we said, I will not, you know, I would say the 17th, but I have a phone there to go to. It's called philosophy. They accepted that. You got some names confirming that I was there on the 16th. The 17th showing that I was going to the Coleman game on the 17th. But yet still, they still sent the letter out over the weekend, which landed that Monday, saying that I was fired for not returning to work. For not returning to work. That's what you keep on saying. You keep saying I was terminated for not returning to work. There is evidence to show that that was not the case, that I did return to work. There's evidence to show that I did notify them that I would be leaving before the start of the shift, as well as the end of my shift, that I would be leaving. They have all that information in front of you to tell you that. They have no evidence showing anything about what they did, other than they just saying what she's saying to cover up the unjust, unethical act that they tried to do against me, and which is wrong.
Again, we're getting into the actual case from last time, which I really, really don't think is good. I'd like to actually never go through that.
Could you say that you were not, that you were, that you come under section 19.5, which says that you were terminated? Right. And that's what I want. Mercury held, and that's how the position in the last case. That I was terminated. No, he said you were not terminated. Yes, I was. Yeah, okay. He didn't talk with this because their position was that I was terminated for not returning to work. That's what Mr. Murphy said. I'm saying that was not, Mr. Murphy never heard any evidence to that effect, indicating that I voluntarily left at all. All right. And you hear the Labor Board Commissioner try to act like he don't know what was going on? Shame on Gerald Wayne. That's him acting like he don't know what was going on. Shame on him. Thank you.